This is Legendary Lane in Brevard County, Florida. It used to be called Lynching Tree Drive because this is where they lynched James Clark in 1926. This is actually a postcard. Before Disney World, this is what a lot of postcards looked like in Florida. Floridians lynched almost 1 in every 1,000 black people, a higher percentage than any other state. People in Florida back then did not like courts and law. They liked this collective process for justice. Guilt or innocence was decided socially by the local majority. And that's how they still do it today. They vote for judges and prosecutors. And then if the prosecutors don't let police lie and don't use jailhouse confession witnesses to convict whomever the majority has been told is guilty, the voters will elect someone else who will. To this day, people in Brevard County still don't trust courts and laws and prefer the social process to decide who is guilty. They can't suffer the insult of a system that lets some aloof juror decide your fate rather than them. So they will let dangerous felons out of prison as a reward for lying to the jury to make sure they get the result that good people want. They do their lynching in court rather than under a tree. You could do the research that they don't want you to do and see if felons who lied in court to convict the innocent in Florida were ever prosecuted after the people they lied to convict were exonerated. You would see that felons who lied in court to convict the innocent in Florida are never prosecuted. So the street name has changed from Lynching Tree to Legendary, but human nature has not changed. Florida is still legendary for convicting the innocent. Not everyone is happy about this, but the ones who are most opposed to it are actually the ones supporting it. Some people see courts convicting the innocent, so they don't trust courts. Instead, they want the social collective to decide who is guilty. What they don't realize is it is already the social collective rather than the court deciding who is guilty. The local majority is who is forcing courts to use lies to convict the innocent, after those local people have been played for suckers by sensational stories in the local paper. So people who appeal to democracy to produce justice are wrong about what the social collective actually does. The social collective does not protect the innocent. The social collective lynches people. Voters will make decisions based on gossip from carnival barkers and will vote to torture and lie about the innocent over and over. This brings us to the two biggest mistakes people make that result in them spending their lives in a Florida prison or on death row, even though they are innocent. The first mistake is trying to prove your innocence rather than demanding due process in court. Due process basically means the jury has to be fully informed, free speech in court basically. And people who lie in court have to be punished. But I will get to the proving innocence mistake and why Florida lawyers prefer something that puts innocent people in prison in another video. The second mistake innocent people make that results in them spending their lives in a Florida prison is not understanding human nature. Your average degenerate Florida Jimmy Buffett fan thinks human nature and a social process will produce justice, even when courts and law don't. They think voters will produce justice, or gossip will produce justice, or democracy will produce justice. As if they didn't have voters and gossip back in 1926 when James Clark was hanging from a tree. If only James Clark could have appealed to gossip instead of his day in court, if only he could have taken his case directly to the good people of Brevard County, it would have all turned out different. The people will lynch you almost every time, not the courts if properly used. People think if they're white and they tell their white neighbors they're being falsely accused, their white neighbors are going to say, oh dear, we got to stop this right now. Dream on. Your white neighbors will be the ones reaching for the rope. Ask Bill Dillon, Chad Heins, Robert DuBoise, ask Kim Hallock, and ask Mandi Mae Jackson. Your neighbors are not God. They don't know who is guilty. And if some cop tells them you are guilty, they will assume you are guilty. The only place you have any hope to prove the truth, that there is no evidence you are guilty, is a court that doesn't allow gossip. And the only way for that to happen is if people who are caught lying in court, people who recite gossip in court, get prosecuted and sent to prison. People think sometimes the law doesn't work to get justice, but if they appeal to a social process, meaning if they tell their neighbors what they think is really true and try to persuade police to stop lying out of the goodness of their heart, they're going to get a better result than the law. They think courts are bad, but good people are kind of like a backup plan that can make them better. They think the government is bad, but people are good. Even though the people voted for the government, they think the government is bad and it's operating independently of people who are good. This is false. The reason we have courts and laws is because the social gossip process produces lies and tortures the innocent in witch trials. Today in Florida, cops get votes by convincing you that random strangers are guilty or are a danger to you. Lawyers make money by lying that their clients are innocent and having their clients lie in court that other people are guilty. Now, if you ran for president today, you would get 2 votes, right? You'd get you and maybe your sister would vote for you. If you started a TikTok channel or a YouTube channel, the average person, would get 5 views. If you stood in front of a grocery store and tried to, tell people a story, you would get 1 person to listen to you. That is exactly how many people will care you are innocent when politicians and professional liars are telling millions of people you're guilty. Nobody will listen to you. No voter will care when you are innocent. Mattress salesmen have to spend millions of dollars on advertising to convince people to buy their mattresses. And that's how much you would have to spend to convince people you're innocent. Can you afford to hire a celebrity spokesperson to tell people you're innocent? Will any celebrity even know your name or ever care or ever hear about your case? No. Democracy is the friend of mattress salesmen, and that's what prosecutors are. They're mattress salesmen. Democracy is worth jack squat to you when you are innocent and locked in a box. Democracy is the enemy of the innocent and the enemy of justice. Nobody ever holds a witch trial without spectators. There's no point in lying unless you're lying to someone. The spectators are the point. The spectacle is the point of the witch trial. No government employee, no judge, no prosecutor, no witch pricker has any incentive to torture the innocent except for votes. The only incentive to send random innocent strangers to prison for life is votes. So wrongful convictions are not done in spite of the majority who want justice. Wrongful convictions are done on behalf of the voters. 99% of injustice is done on behalf of the voter. People lie because they have that audience for their lies. That's why they lie, for the voter. You think you can afford a lawyer who will push back on all of this? You can't. Because not making enemies in local politics, not becoming the enemy of the people himself, which is what you are when the public thinks you're guilty, that's worth more to your lawyer than anything you can pay him. You're going to be gone upstate and he's never going to see you again. Your lawyer still has to get referrals and get local prosecutors and judges to give him deals so that he can keep making money. You're not going to, burn his whole career and burn his bridges because you're innocent. If he did, he'd be broke and he'd be too busy doing it for someone else. He wouldn't have time to do it for you even if he wanted to. So, maybe you say, well, let's vote for something different. Let's try to make a different system. Let's vote for a prosecutor who won't use lies to convict the innocent. Let's have juries just simply refuse to convict people when the public knows that the laws are unjust. But the deeper you get into a political or a social process like that to get justice, and the less a court process that punishes liars, the more injustice you're going to get, not less. Human nature is not more just than courts. It is less just. This is a basic error about human nature. The more injustice people get, the more they're going to try to appeal to a political or a social process instead of courts, and then they're just going to keep getting even more injustice. And they're going to even try harder the next time, really give the power to the people. Because people think the crowd is naturally just when it is not. That is why we have courts. So if you ask for a social process rather than a court process, if you ask for something that good people like you can directly have a say over and directly have control over, politicians are going to give it to you. And then they're going to burn innocent people at the stake while lying to you that those people are guilty. And it could be you. And if you doubt that it could be you, the innocent person being burned at the stake, answer this question. Think about a court case on TV where you knew whether the person was guilty or innocent. Now, in that case where the person on TV, you knew whether they were guilty or innocent, did you ever get the original sworn police report in that case written the morning it happened, and did you read that? Or did you ever get the audio recording of what, the actual witnesses on the scene said that morning? And if you didn't get those things and read them, then how do you have any idea what actually happened? And how do you know you're not just being lied to? Did you ever read all the depositions of what witnesses in that case swore years before the trial, way back when the crime happened, back before they were all socially pressured and pressured with prison to get their lies straight and conform their story? No. What you do is you just recite whatever people tell you, meaning gossip. Gossip is dominated by politicians and liars, and by you being a gullible parrot who, in truth, you have no idea what's really going on in those cases you see on TV. You think newspapers can be sued when they lie about criminal defendants or when they lie about what's going on in popular criminal cases? They can't be sued. No local judge who needs to get elected is going to let you sue someone and then prove the judge's friends are all presiding over lies. And now, how about all those thousands of cases that you never even heard of that aren't on TV? It just basically broke nobodies that nobody cares about. That's like 98, 99% of cases, if not more. You think anybody knows or cares what really happened in those cases? You certainly don't. Or you think anybody knows or cares that prosecutors and lawyers just made a deal to shut those cases down with lies and just go home, just throw the person away with some lies, fix the court record, go home? Nobody knows, and that's going to be you. When you're innocent in prison, you're going to be one of those million nobodies that's never on TV and nobody knows or cares. You can't get people who lie about criminal cases on Facebook and on Twitter sent to prison. You can't sue people who publicly lie about defendants in criminal cases. The law is designed to expose criminal defendants to gossip. Defamation laws, immunity laws, all that is actually designed to expose whoever the government accuses, to expose those people to false gossip. The only place that's designed to prevent false gossip is supposed to be courts. So the only way to stop police lying and torturing the innocent is with a court process that sends cops to prison when they commit perjury in court, and sends all state witnesses to prison when they commit perjury in court. The only way to achieve the difference between a gossip process and a court process is by sending people who lie in court to prison, which you can't do to people on the internet when they lie. And that process in court does not happen today. Rather, the exact opposite of that process is what's going on in court today. Dangerous felons who lie on behalf of the state get let out of prison as a reward for lying to please the public. Except the naive jury is never told that. Jurors think, well, I assume if these felons lied in court, they'd be prosecuted, not let out of prison. No, because the public wants the person locked up, the defendant, so they're happy that the criminal lied and got out of prison or whatever. The naive jury is never told that. The jury thinks, well, I assume if these people lied, they'd be prosecuted, or the prosecutor would be fired. No, you don't know what's really going on. You're the one re-electing the prosecutor when he uses lies. You can't vote for good police who will refrain from lying out of the goodness of their heart when you yourself don't know they're lying, and you're the one re-electing them because they told you they're arresting the bad people. It doesn't work any better than you can vote for a government to provide everyone with food in a communist country. The nature of voting is flawed to micromanage outcomes. The nature of the social process is to reward people who lie in economics or injustice. And that's how police get rewarded for lying. Same as, over in the Soviet Union, everyone was starving. Every day the politicians saying, oh, we got grain coming tomorrow. We're doing better than ever. We're doing better than the U.S. They're starving in the U.S. We're doing better. Now, the social process will always be dominated by liars and will always reward liars. And that's what courts are designed to be different from. Crowds of people are inherently unjust and uninformed. That's what the Soviet Union was supposed to be. That's what North Korea is, a crowd of people, a collective deciding who should make bread, who should get paid what, who should go to prison. Communism never works, not in criminal justice. The people are not a good decision-making unit. Every crowd is made up of lying wolves and gullible sheep. Every crowd is irrational. Every crowd is impulsive and easily manipulated and misled. There has never been a crowd of people whose whim was superior to the designed legal process, which is witnesses who lie in court go to prison. So court is supposed to be different from a crowd of lying wolves and gullible sheep. It's supposed to restrict that whole gossip process and get to the truth. So you have to demand that legal process in court, not appeal to the goodness of police and your neighbors to not lie and not gossip and not tell false stories. Anything that trusts in the goodness of voters or trusts in voters being informed will result in innocent people spending life in prison. Your neighbors are going to lie about you and believe lies about you in a second, just like you're going to eagerly swallow any gossip you hear about your neighbors. And your only hope to stop them lying about you, and their only hope to stop you lying about them, is in a court where people who lie are punished by going to prison. The only place where the process is designed to be fair, where the truth is designed to win out over gossip, is supposed to be in court. But it doesn't work that way if you want the opposite. If you want to have them let felons out of prison for lying, that's what you're going to get. So you have to vote to make the court process honest, not vote to reelect people who let felons out of prison for lying. You have to not vote for courts that convict people who you think is guilty. You have to not vote for judges and prosecutors who convict people that you think are guilty, but vote for courts where liars who recite gossip are prosecuted and sent to prison. So in other words, you can't vote for courts or for judges and for prosecutors because they convicted the people that you think are guilty. You have to vote for courts and judges and prosecutors where people who lie and recite gossip are sent to prison. Because if you vote for them because they convicted the person the TV said was guilty, you're going to get a TV process. And then when you're in prison or you're in jail, that TV process is not the one you're going to want for you or for your kids. It's a simple choice. Do you want to beg people and appeal to their goodness to not lie? Or do you want a process where people who lie in court are punished?
Your answer to that often is going to depend on whether you yourself are one of the liars or whether you're one of the gullible people who likes to believe liars. In both those cases, whether you're a good liar or one of these naive people who believes everything on TV, you're going to prefer the social process. You're going to prefer the people decide guilt. But when you're an innocent person locked in a concrete box, you're going to wish liars were punished and sent to prison, not out there lying on TV and leading herds of sheep against you. Would you vote for or against a judge if in that judge's courtroom a person was found not guilty after the TV told you he was guilty? So TV says person's guilty, person's found not guilty. Are you going to vote to re-elect that judge? As a voter, you have to demand courts not be subservient to a social or political process, because judges can easily look the other way on liars and allow lies in court to get to that politically popular outcome. So a judge is going to say, well, I know I'm not going to get reelected because, you were told on TV that this person's guilty. Judge is going to say, well, everybody was told on TV this person's guilty. If I don't allow some lies in the court, which I can base my decisions on, or if I don't make my decisions to please the public and achieve a politically popular outcome, I'm not going to get reelected. So would you vote against a judge if a person who you were told was guilty was found not guilty in that judge's courtroom? As a voter, you have to demand courts not be subservient to a social political process. You have to demand courts not allow lies or make decisions to please you based on what you saw on TV, because judges can easily look the other way on liars or allow lies and make decisions to achieve that politically popular outcome if that's what they need to do to get elected. So you have to make the choice yourself. I'm not going to elect judges because the person TV said was guilty was found guilty. I'm going to elect judges because people who lie in court go to prison, whereas people who lie to me on TV don't go to prison. You have to demand courts remain independent and punish liars, not reward liars so that they can get reelected. It's up to you to say, am I going to reelect this judge for punishing liars or for allowing liars to get the outcome that the liars on TV said was right? Courts that respond to politics and TV send innocent people to prison for life, and not the opposite. Trying to use liars to allow the outcome that the liars on TV said was right is actually how you get innocent people going to court for life. Your goodness, wanting the outcome that they said on TV was good, you're the one who, with your vote, asking judges to allow liars to get the outcome that you think is good based on what you saw on TV, you're the one sending innocent people to prison for life by inappropriately putting your gossip-based opinion into the process. You have to demand courts resist the influence of voters like that. Courts have to punish liars by sending them to prison, no matter how unpopular the defendant or how much voters like you think he's guilty after seeing it on TV. Or else it could be you. When your family member is murdered and you call the police and everyone starts gossiping and saying you did it. I could give you 1,000 names that happened to. Cameron Willingham, Butch Martin, Chad Heins, Patsy Ramsey, Kim Hallock, parents of kids who fell down the stairs, parents who were convicted of raping their own children based on fake recovered memories. And the prosecutors who convict innocent people like that, Harry Connick Sr., Doug Cheshire, Phil Archer, Ed Jagels, those prosecutors get reelected over and over like Fidel Castro because they're putting on a show and giving the people what they want. If you want people who would lie about you like that arrested, then you have to start today demanding that anyone who lies in court, cops or anyone else, hero cops even, be arrested and go to prison. There are two things that save innocent people from prison, and neither one of them is democracy or the wisdom and goodness of the crowd. One is demanding that juries are fully informed of how many times the state of Florida has let dangerous felons out of prison as a reward for lying to juries to convict the innocent. The jurors have to know that the state of Florida will lie to them. Can't be a big secret. Two is demanding that people who lie in court go to prison, not be rewarded by the state on behalf of voters. Would you vote to re-elect the judge if the person you thought was guilty was found not guilty? How about if another inmate was willing to swear that defendant confessed to him in the jail and get a reduced sentence, and the judge wouldn't allow that witness? How about if you're one of these people who thinks Sheila Green lied to give her brother Crosley the death penalty? Would you want Crosley Green's sister prosecuted for lying? How about if they found someone to swear Kim Hallock confessed to killing Chip Flynn? Would you want that person prosecuted if that person was caught lying?